Welcome back to the channel. If you're new, please make sure to like, subscribe, and always comment down below. Now let's get into the video. Most U.S. states have a long history of racism, and to this day it still exists. It's very hard to measure racism because you can't go around and ask people if they're racist. Therefore, they search racism through online posts, racist Google questions, and more. There is also a common misconception that only white people can be racist, which is not true. The definition of a racist person is someone who thinks their race is superior, and anyone of any race can be racist. And while the South dominates this list, racism is everywhere in America. And what you'll find in the South is that most of the racism is closeted. People keep to themselves. Today, in the South, it's more self-segregation. You'll find that whites and blacks in the South don't really mix. Now, with all that out of the way, let's take a look at the top 10 most racist states in America. Number 10, New York. This may be a surprise that New York is such a racist state, but racism exists in almost every corner of the state. In upstate New York, there are tons of racist searches and posts online directed towards black people, while in New York City, most of the racism is towards Asians and Jews. New York City ranks high for Asian hate and anti-Semitic crimes, and while most police officers are not racist, the NYPD ranks as one of the most racist police departments. Blacks and Hispanics are pulled over twice as much as whites, so the study concluded that the NYPD is racist. You may not think of New York as being such a racist state, and it's the only state in the Northeast to make this list, but if you think people in New York are all accepting, think again. Number 9, Arizona. While there is not much hate towards black people in Arizona compared to other states on this list, but that's probably because Arizona has a very small percentage of blacks. Most of the hate in Arizona is towards Hispanics. The state has very strict immigration policies, and many feel that the policies are biased. There is also a lot of hate towards Native Americans in Arizona as well. Number 8, Michigan. Most of the racism in Michigan is in the northern part of the state and the Detroit metro area. In fact, Detroit has one of the most racist histories in America. Detroit was an area using redlining, which after World War II showed neighborhoods that were less desirable for investors and homeowners. These practices affected black areas, and Detroit is a perfect example of white flight. Today, 8 Mile Road is the highway that divides Detroit from the suburbs. It's also the line of segregation. You have the mostly wealthy white suburbs on one side and the poor, mostly blighted and majority black city of Detroit. History lies deep in Detroit's roots, and as a result, it affects the state of Michigan entirely. Number 7, Louisiana. Louisiana is one of many southern states to make this list. In fact, one of the most Googled questions about Louisiana is why is it so racist? The United Nations even claimed that there is discrimination towards blacks in the Louisiana justice system. Louisiana has the highest incarceration rate in America, but compared to many southern states, black and white people tend to mix a little bit more in Louisiana. Number 6, Wisconsin. Of all the Midwestern states, Wisconsin is probably the most racist of all of them. Places like Kenosha, Milwaukee, and Racine all rank towards the top for worst cities to be black in. Blacks are more likely to be victims of crime, live in poverty, locked up, or be on welfare compared to their white neighbors. Milwaukee is one of the most segregated cities in America, and racial equality is a major issue across the state. Now, I don't know if the white people in Wisconsin are aware of it. If they are, I hope they can change something here or get more equality. I think it's more of a government issue, but I don't know if the people are aware of this. Number 5, Florida. Florida should be a surprise to absolutely no one who's been following up on current events. Besides the racist people in Florida, their governor, Ron DeSantis, is so racist, it's embarrassing. He banned advanced placement African American studies, and he wants to teach what he calls the good things about slavery. He also recently passed a law stating that illegal immigrants cannot work in the state, and businesses found hiring illegal immigrants will have massive fines. As a result, the state is suffering financially right now. Who's going to build the houses, pick the fruits and vegetables, and mow people's lawn? And of course, you'll find many racist white conservatives all over the state. There are not many states as backwards as Florida, and it amazes me how people can vote for Ron DeSantis. Number 4, Alabama. The history of racism in Alabama is longer than a CVS receipt. Just recently, there was a racially motivated fight in Montgomery called the Montgomery Brawl. A white man fought a black employee who told him he couldn't park his boat in a certain dock. The white man proceeded to beat his ass, and several other white people joined in. Now, I'm not sure if the man who started the fight had a racist motive. He might have just been drunk. But the people that joined in definitely had a racist motive. Mobile and Birmingham are both very segregated cities, and while the mostly wealthy white suburbs of Birmingham are divided by a mountain, and on the other side is the poor, mostly black city of Birmingham. Sadly, many people in Alabama still have a racist mentality. Of course, Montgomery, Alabama was also home to the Rosa Parks bus boycott, where she refused to move her seat for a white man. So there's just a big history of racism. Number 3, Texas. Unlike our last few states, most of the racism in Texas is from Hispanic hate. Many backwards people in Texas still want the border wall to be finished and claim that Mexicans are bringing in crime and drugs, which is simply not the case. Most states with the highest drug use are far from the border. West Virginia, Maine, and Florida are nowhere near the Mexico border and have far higher drug use than Texas. And the governor, Greg Abbott, is extremely racist. He even has gone as far as putting razor blades on the border, cutting people and injuring them. Even the feds say that Greg Abbott's approach towards putting razor blades on the border is inhumane. Number 2, Mississippi. The only surprising stat is that Mississippi is not number 1 on this list. The racist history in Mississippi is so disturbing, I can't even get into it. It was only until 2020 when they removed the Confederate flag from their state flag, and it's sad that people were against changing it. You'll still see people waving around the old Confederate flag all throughout the state. Even to this day, racism and slavery are still sensitive topics, most things that the country has gotten over. Today, it is still the most segregated state. Black and white people just don't mix in Mississippi. One person described the white and black relationship in the state to be like water and oil. Did you know a study claimed that 46% of people in Mississippi think that interracial marriage should be illegal? If that doesn't show how backwards and racist this state is, then I don't know what does. And number 1, Arkansas. What makes Arkansas the most racist state, you ask? Well, it's the headquarters of the Ku Klux Klan. For one, the state is known for having the most racist town in America, Harrison, Arkansas. This was proven by a man who held up a Black Lives Matter sign and people threatened to hurt him. Others said F Black Lives, while others said Black Lives do not matter. There are even white pride billboards and a white pride radio station. It is sad that such racism exists in America and how deeply rooted it is in some places. So that's going to finish our list of the most racist states in America. Now, I want to say this. Not all people in these states are racist, okay? I would actually say that most don't, okay? Let's all be nice to each other and make sure to like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.